Alright, what I got for you here is a 2019 Harley Davidson Softail Deluxe. Very retro looking bike, very old school style of motorcycle, I can tell. Definitely a classic, like throwback looking, you know, old school type mentality you got coming from this guy right here. Cubic inches, looks like 107 cubic inches, so nothing crazy, you know. I mean, it's definitely not the biggest bike out here, but it definitely doesn't look like the heaviest either. The tires on it, from what I saw a second ago, they're kind of like an old school look to them too, so we're gonna see how well they do. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the old school look. That might just be because I'm not old school. So far, it pulls pretty good. Automatic self-canceling turn signals. Stagger formation, boys. Alright, she's actually alright. First impressions are she handles and comes off the line pretty good. Honestly, not too bad. I'm really not having to touch the throttle at all to get a nice linear power pull from this bike. Honestly, this has been the best, like, it's not the most powerful bike I've been on today, but it's been the smoothest experience. It's got a real nice, just low end, just roll on power, very linear, very smooth, handles excellent in my opinion. I was honestly kind of like knocking it because of the shitty tires that it looked like it had on it, but not too bad at all. They're honestly gripping pretty well, and this bike actually, if my homie here doesn't dive off in front of me too hard, it seems like it actually wants to turn pretty well. It actually seems like this bike has the best turning characteristics of any bike that I've ridden today, which is honestly saying something. Very, very good handling characteristic. Very comfortable neutral seating position. Honestly, I kind of feel like I'm gripping the handlebars a little hard to keep myself upright, but I think that's just, you know, I think this is the way I'm riding particularly right now. I don't think that really has anything to do with the bike. Handle grips are really wide on this, and I actually kind of like that. It's easy to hang on to them. Man, it definitely is smooth, man. This Deluxe, all right, so while it looks very retro, it feels very modern on the road. I like it, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of the style. I know I've said that, but the way it rides and the linear power that this bike has, it's actually not too bad. I gotta be honest with you. I can't knock it for the way it's running right now. It's very pleasant. It's very smooth. This bike doesn't seem like it's a highway killer, but this thing around town is probably the bomb.com, honestly. If it had some bags on it, I think it would be perfect. I'm sure there's a Softail that's got bags on it though to compensate for my gripes right here. But as far as a retro throwback styling, I think they've nailed it, honestly, because as soon as you look at this bike, it looks like it's, you know, something out of the 60s to the 70s, maybe the 50s, you know, really a blend of that era. It definitely doesn't look very modern, but then once you get on it and you ride it, it's definitely got that modern feel to it, which is, I appreciate that a lot, to be honest with you. That's what you want from a modern day motorcycle, is that modern day performance, the modern day handling, the characteristics of a modern motorcycle. And if you're looking for something that has a classic throwback, this one I think in its own right has destroyed that category right here. I think it's a great bike. It's got a nice good power. I mean, you can really, like, 2,500 RPMs, 2,300 RPMs, just lay into this thing, and it'll weave in and out of traffic. It'll outrun most of your average cars out there. It'll get you out of danger, which is important. You know, that's definitely something you want. Is you want to be able to accelerate out into traffic and not have to worry about getting hit by the car you're pulling out in front of. You want to be able to hit the gas and go on nice and smooth down the road and get out of the way. And this bike's got plenty, honestly, for around town. I mean, you're never going to have any complaints about it. Got ourselves a private escort here, Mr. 5.0. No, he's just chilling, going down Riverside. He's not with us. We do have some police escorts today. Huge shout out to Harley Davidson and their demo fleet for coming out and allowing us to ride some really kick-ass motorcycles and, you know, try something new, break out of the shell of, you know, my sport bike world and kind of see what this Harley game's all about. Now, you know, I really got to, you know, give a big thanks to them because they're allowing me to come out and ride a motorcycle that I would have never had the opportunity to ride if they hadn't done this. And it's completely free. All you got to do is sign up, sign some waivers, and then they'll get you out here and get you riding. And that's pretty awesome. I mean, not a lot of companies do that. I know I've never seen a demo event from Honda, very few from Suzuki and Kawasaki. Yamaha's pretty good about it. They like to, you know, get people out there and get people riding their bikes. But honestly, I mean, Harley is probably the best. You know, they want more seat time on these things. I've actually had an opportunity to ride an Indian, and I gotta say it's pretty comparable experience. I think the Harley's a little bit better in my opinion, just because it seems like the components are more like they're just more solid. There's no cheesiness to them. But as far as performance and seating position and everything like that, I think you get the same. Victory's not a brand anymore. I was gonna say that they were an excellent motorcycle to ride, but they didn't really do a lot of test rides either. Got some heart. I like it. Then we got a little bit of grunt to her. Now this highway truck's kind of where I really wanted to review this thing. You know, like no windscreen, which on a lot of bikes I actually find that's perfectly acceptable because I think windshields create a buffeting effect, and I'm not a huge fan of it. But how well does it handle on the highway? Does the wind blow it around because it doesn't have the great aerodynamics of the modern motorcycle? Or, you know, does the classic look affect anything with performance and handling? And honestly, at 50 miles an hour, which is what I'm running right about now, I don't think so. I don't think it's really affecting anything at this speed. Now, I'm not going to be able to get this bad boy up to 100 miles an hour and really see what it feels like then, but I don't think that's this bike's purpose either. You know, it's more of a, hey, I'm going to cruise around, bar hop, you know, chill, you know, around town bike. I don't think it's really meant to really go very far. And, you know, it kind of screams that because of the fact that there's no storage on this motorcycle. There's no way to actually put anything, you know, besides what you're going to be able to fit in your pocket. You're really not going to get to bring a lot with you with this bike. Just chilling in third gear, just smooth rolling around town though. This bike honestly feels pretty great in my personal opinion. No complaints for me. Second gear, nice heft to power, you know, as soon as you get on it, very linear, very smooth response. Plenty of passing power without much wrist movement. You know, you really don't have to get into the throttle too much to get the torque of this bike to come alive and just heft you forward. I do feel like though this seating position though, I know I commented a little bit on it before, but the seating position of the bike seems like it wants you to slide off the back and you really have to grip these handlebars to kind of hang on to it. I'm not saying I feel like I'm going to fall off the back of this bike. I just feel like I'm working my hands a little bit in order to really hang on whenever I heft into the, you know, I get a little bit of the throttle and ham fisted a little bit. I just feel like it's a little bit harder to hang on to, that's all. Second gear, it definitely got some good pull to it. It just feels like the seat doesn't really support you enough in order to not rely on your upper arm strength in order to hang on to what's going on, and you know, and be in good control of the bike. It definitely pulls you back. You just kind of have a slanted back seating position. It's nothing I would say you would have to worry about, but over long distances it actually might get a little bit annoying. We're going to be coming up into a section in a little bit where the turning characteristics of this bike are going to come into play, and that's kind of what I'm really interested to see. I had, you know, reasonable expectations with the engine and, you know, the motor and characteristics and everything like that. With these tires, though, I was kind of like, man, this bike's probably not going to handle very good. actually handles pretty well. I gotta be honest with you, that's my biggest like eye-opening moment, is getting on this thing and seeing the fact that it actually will handle properly. And for a, you know, a mid-sized level bike, it really inspires a lot of confidence whenever you want to like flick it around the road. You definitely feel the weight of this motorcycle, but it manages itself so well that I don't think it's going to bother anybody while they're going down the road. The only real complaint I have is, honestly, I feel like I'm working my hands a little bit just to hang on to it. I feel like, you know, maybe it's just the seating position, maybe the way I'm gripping it. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that I'm having to experience some discomfort right here by holding onto these grips. And if you were going to be putting a lot of miles on this thing around town, that might not be something you really want. You know, a change of the handlebars might fix that, but I think if you're going to spend a lot of money on something, you should probably buy something that works for you right out of the gate. That way you don't have to invest more money into making it work. But as far as the flickability of it, you know, my early review of that is it actually handles pretty well. I'm honestly surprised at how well. One thing I will mention here is, it seems like it's pretty consistent amongst the Harley Davidson platform here. The engine heat between your legs is just really intense. And when you're at an idle, it seems to just send heat up the side of your leg, almost to the point where it's borderline burning you, and I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm not sure why it channels the heat like that. It just, on all the bikes I've ridden today, that is a problem. The heat just really radiates off this motor and goes right up the side of your thigh, and it's just, and it's a very nice, cool day. It's overcast, as you can see. It's not hot out here yet at all, and I'm looking down going, man, my leg is just burning, and it's my right one, not my leg, or not my left, but it seems like they might want to do something to maybe try and channel that heat a little bit away from your, you know, your crotch, because that is a problem, especially if you're going to be in a hotter environment. You're not going to want your leg sitting there cooking every time you stop. It's a small complaint, but I'm trying to review this as accurately and as best as I can in the short amount of time that I get with this motorcycle. And I'm definitely not a Harley Davidson expert, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt, and you know, formulate your own opinions, of course. I'm just I've spent a lot of time on two wheels, and you know, I know what I like, and you know, I'm hoping that, you know, maybe I can educate some people and help them make a little bit better of a decision before they run out and just buy a motorcycle that maybe isn't right for them. So I'm trying to give you my best input that I can, and I'm sure there's someone out there that's going to do a much better job of reviewing this motorcycle particularly. So definitely go and check, you know, look for some other things, not just this one. The guy in front of me has forgotten how to ride. Oh, I like the integrated taillight into that bag back there, but yeah, oh my gosh, this thing is just cooking my leg. Every time I stop, it's literally just my thigh. Ooh, he cut in hard. Oh yeah, so this is kind of what I was wondering all along, and here it is. Turns, how does she handle? I'm telling you, first impressions, that front end just dips in and it holds itself. It like almost automatically turns for you, and that's actually really nice. I love a motorcycle that knows, it has its own sixth sense. Like, I'm coming up to a turn, I need to dive a little bit. Like, I'm accelerating to this turn probably a little faster than I should be, just because it's kind of rocky and there's some sands and stuff. But man, the bike doesn't care. It inspires some good confidence through the turns, and that's really what you want. You want to be able to trust your motorcycle. If you feel uneasy about taking turns on something, you know, it's going to be real hard to be safe. And this definitely inspires that confidence, in my opinion. It does not give you any trouble just coming into these turns. I really wish homie wouldn't quit. The guy in front of me just keeps drifting over into my side. And I understand not a lot of people have ridden in a formation before or in a group, but it's dangerous to drift into the other person's lane, if you will, when you're riding staggered. Because if, for whatever reason, I got into a situation where I couldn't apply my brakes quickly enough, and maybe they wouldn't work properly because of sand, well, we'd be in a little bit of trouble, wouldn't we? But at the same time, I should probably increase my following distance, that way that I don't have to worry about that. Oh yeah, it's definitely got a good pull to her. Getting on the highway, hefting it up to 6th gear. I'm gonna tell you right now, you actually kind of have to work pretty hard to hold on to this thing because of the seating position. It definitely gives it that performance feel. I didn't expect that from this motorcycle, honestly. I expected it to feel a lot more tame, but no, it ran really good. And we're coming up on the dealership now, so my review is going to get cut off here shortly. But I just wanted to go give a huge shout out to Harley and their Heritage Classic here, because it surprised me. I'm a sport bike rider. I primarily ride sport bikes. I like things that are sport driven. I like the extra performance of a sport bike. This bike right here, it's kind of great because it has good performance, and the seating position is more neutral, more comfortable than a sport bike traditional. I don't think it's the most comfortable Harley I've ever been on, for sure. It's probably honestly one of the least comfortable ones that I've ever been on. But you know, I'm not sure what the price point is on this thing. If you're looking at it though, the only gripes I have are the heat from the engine, which you're going to find out on pretty much any Harley at this point, I think. The clunkiness of the controls. They use some pretty big controls. Like the clutch has a pretty heavy pull to it. It's not soft. You really kind of have to work your fingers over here to keep it pulled back. But as far as the Heritage Classic is concerned, handles excellent. The power is very smooth, very linear, it's a very forgiving feel to a motorcycle, and I like that. I like when the motorcycle inspires confidence when you're on it. Yeah, that's it. 2019 Softail Heritage, and I gotta say it changed my opinion of it. Looking at this bike, honestly, I kind of thought, well, I don't even know if I want to ride this thing. And now that I've actually had some seat time with it, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I had the privilege to take this motorcycle out and experience what it actually can do, because that's why that's why I go to these events, and that's why I got to give huge shout outs to Harley and every other manufacturer that does these events. I would never buy a motorcycle like this, because I would never even consider the fact that it would be a decent motorcycle. I would look at it and just be like, it's not for me. But after riding it, I gotta be honest with you, if someone wanted to give me one, I wouldn't be hesitant to take it at all. I don't think I would go and spend my money on it, just because I have some some bike goals that I still haven't got out of the way yet. But my next ride is going to be actually right over there, that 114 cubic inch FX something R. It's a new Harley 2019, and it's a big engine, very sport performance driven. Doesn't look like the most comfortable bike in the world, but I definitely want to. I've never found that Harley that just screamed like, you have to buy this because it's so good. And I'm hoping that Harley Davidson's 2019 offering, this new bike right here, will change my opinion. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. And again, huge shout out to Harley Davidson for doing it right and making it to where we can enjoy riding motorcycles and come out and test some free motorcycles. And there's, like I said, it really says something when a manufacturer's willing to do that, because there's not a lot of them out there that trust you enough to let a stranger take out their bike, and that says something to me. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Again, take everything I just said today with a grain of salt, because again, I'm no professional. I don't know everything there is to know about Harley Davidson and these bikes. So thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you later.